Whoa, grinding till I get a mill. All I want is dollar bills. Stacking higher than some hills. Messing with my cake probably get you killed.
What's going on, y'all? It's Mike. I'm back here with another video. In today's video, we're gonna be reacting to He Stole the Only Thing I Love. It's a Young Don the Sauce Guy video. We reacted to Young Don a few times in the past, so he done just put out this video. So we're gonna check it out. Before we do, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your friends if you have any. Click that bell so you're notified when I drop a new video. Check all my other videos. Let's get into this video, no cap. Let's get it. Let's go.
Eventually, I decided to go and investigate, Started to climb up the hill, and at the very top of the hill was a small yellow house. I went up to the front grill, and I started knocking on the metal bars separating me from the inside of the house. I knocked and knocked and knocked, thinking that Kevin was just...
I was mad.
Headphones, y'all.
I couldn't sleep naked.
Oh, yeah?
Hell yeah.
I mean, you could have asked.
What?
I mean, like, I walked into the Foot Locker and they got my size. It's like, well, what's going on? Is get these little slaves to work. Wow. Get them to work. Get their little hands to stitch up these shoes. I need some fresh Nikes. What are we doing?
Ain't nothing like crackhead strength. That crackhead immune system. If crack don't kill you,
Nothing will.
Nothing. That crack don't kill you, boy. Crack make you stronger, boy.
Yes, sir. No, we stop. Do not condone crack.
High. Can't do what the cough gonna do. You cough more smoking crack. I'm not rapping on that.
Go ahead, Will. He
So we
said,
got to sit down, record a podcast. Where you going? You better bring your ass. We about to talk for 2 hours. Get them Sour Patch Kids, get them sours. I'm going cracking jokes. Don got the beat. And I'm about to go deep.
What? I just saw what he was about to say.
In a day.
Oh my God, 34,000? I would have never guessed.
Beat my meat.
So one summer back in Jamaica, I was about 11 years old. My mom packed me and my little sister up in the car and drove 2.5 hours out to the country to visit my auntie Paulette. We did this almost every year when I was a kid, and I really enjoyed it because I was a city kid. I grew up in Kingston. The country was a very different place for me. In the country, you go to sleep with the front door wide open without worrying that someone was gonna break in. You spent all your time outside because there was always more things to do outside than inside. And when you got hungry, all you had to do was look around and there would be some kind of fruit tree that you could go and pick fresh fruit from. But the thing I like most about the country were the people. People from the country live a simpler life. An honest life. Something about the city just makes people slimy and grimy, It's a cutthroat pace of life. But in the country, it's just good food, good people, and good vibes. So after a long, bumpy drive to the country, my mom finally pulls up in my auntie's driveway at the top of a hill at the end of a long, windy dirt road. It was a big white single-story house with a red shingled roof. She had a big front yard with a pumpkin patch. And there was always this dog that would sit in the front yard and stare at you. This was not my auntie's dog. Nobody knew where the dog came from. It just
be chilling in front of the crib.
As it pleased. Still, my auntie would feed the dog. Why?
It's a good woman.
That's just what people from the country do.
They're
all just good people, Or at least, that's what I thought. But as much as I loved going to visit my auntie in the country, I never liked staying there too long. Because wasn't much there for a kid to do. And at the time, my auntie didn't have cable television, so it's not like I could watch the TV shows that I liked. This was also before Wi-Fi was a commonplace thing, so no internet. And even if there was, YouTube, Netflix, none of these things were invented as yet. And worst of all, besides my sister, I ain't have no one my age to play with, So 3 days. That's about how long I would last before I started trying to befriend the dog outside, who I named Fred. Why? Because he looked like a Fred. Duh. But this summer would be different. I was not going to be subjected to a week of boredom. But instead, my heart would be broken. And I was going to have my first true taste of betrayal. So one day, I was sitting on the steps at the front of the house, very bored, when I saw another kid my age walking past the front gate. At first, I wasn't going to say anything, but I couldn't let an opportunity like this pass. I ran out to the road and I yelled out to him, "Yo! Hey!" He stopped and turned around. Hey! You live around here?
Yeah, I live up the hill.
Oh! Hey, you wanna play a game or something?
Okay, yeah. Let me ask my mom first.
Okay. Can I come?
I guess.
I should probably ask my mom first. Can you wait?
I'm gonna come back. Let me just tell my mom I'm gonna be down here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna come back.
right.
Yeah, no.
Okay. And off he went. I grabbed the football that was sitting in the front of the yard and sat on the stairs and waited. Sure enough, eventually, this kid came running down the hill. His name was Kevin, and Kevin was my new friend. And we played all day long. He showed me the different hiking trails around the area. He even ate dinner with us. And at the end of the day, Kevin went back home. And
Kevin seemed like a reasonable dude.
And for the first time, instead of worrying about how I was going to pass the time, I worried about the day that I would have to leave my new friend from the country that I would probably never see again. The next day, Kevin came back down to play, but this time he brought his Game Boy SP. I had told him the day before that if he brought his game, we could play video games together. He only had one game, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. Of course, he had already beaten it twice over, so I told him that he could borrow one of my games. I mean, this was my new best friend. I opened my little pouch that I kept all of my video game cartridges in. I had like 6 or 7, and I told him that he could borrow any game that he would like, except for my Pokemon Emerald.
Oh,
that was
I
my
remember
favorite
that.
game at the time, and
I
I was
remember
very
that.
protective over it. He picked a game, and we started to play.
I had the red one.
Two boys that barely knew each other, not saying a single word, playing completely different games, all the while still greatly enjoying each other's company.
It's good. It's good. It's real
Do
good.
girls have anything like that? I wonder. Eventually, we probably switch back to playing soccer or spend time throwing small rocks at bigger rocks. Who knows? Who cares?
Guys.
We were just boys being boys.
I'm about to say,
Third day wasn't
we
much
just
different from
do
the
guy
last.
things.
Kevin came down the hill. We played some video games. We played some football. And when the sun started to go down, Kevin had to go home. But this time, Kevin did something new. He asked me for a favor. Like I said, Kevin only had one game, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror.
Right.
On the third day, he asked me if he could borrow some of my games overnight. He had never
Not on
played
the
any
third
of the
day.
games I had, and he wanted to try some of them out before I left. At first, I wasn't sure, because these games were the most valuable things that I had. But he said he would leave his Kirby game as some form of insurance, and I was interested in seeing what this whole Kirby thing was about. I told him he could borrow any 3 games that he would like. He chose Sonic Advance, The Legend of Zelda, and my Pokemon Emerald. And I ain't gonna lie, man, at first I was hesitant about lending him my Pokemon game, but I had beaten the game a while ago and I wasn't playing it much. Worst case scenario, he was gonna start over the game, which I was already close to doing anyway. Plus, Kevin was an honest, good country boy. I mean, he meant no harm. So, after thinking it over, I let him borrow all 3 games. I remember going to bed that night and playing Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. I'd never heard the name Kirby before this game. I liked Kirby. The next day, just like the 3 days before, around 11 a.m., I went and sat outside, waiting on Kevin to come down the hill. 1 hour passed, 2 hours passed. Before you knew it, it was the middle of the afternoon. Still no Kevin.
Oh, wow.
Now I was starting to get worried because this dude had my Pokemon Emerald, and I wasn't about to let him borrow it for 2 nights in a row. Eventually, I decided to go and investigate, Started to climb up the hill, and at the very top of the hill was a small yellow house. I went up to the front grill, and I started knocking on the metal bars separating me from the inside of the house. I knocked and knocked and knocked, thinking that Kevin was just somewhere inside, fully consumed with playing his new games. I mean, could I really blame him? Eventually, the front door to the house opened, and out came an older woman who looked very annoyed. Excuse me, little boy. Can you tell me why you bang on my gate? Oh, I'm sorry. Is Kevin home? Oh, okay. You're Kevin's friend. No, baby. Kevin went back home. Back home? What do you mean? Doesn't he live here? Oh, no, baby. He was just visiting for the week. What? He was just visiting for the week. He left this morning. Him never tell him was leaving. Never tell him was leaving. Never tell him was leaving. Never tell him. Immediately it started to sink in. Kevin was gone, and he took all of my games with him, including my Pokemon. I had been finessed, betrayed, and of course, wanted to be mad. But to be honest, this was the same Pokemon game that I had stolen from this other kid. That was one of the very first stories I told on this channel. So, in a way, I kind of had it coming. And even though I felt like bro did me dirty, he did save me from being bored out of my mind for a few days. And he left me a new game that ended up being really fun to play. Moral of the story, be careful who you trust. And remember, appearances can be deceiving. Because the only difference between a saint and a sinner is a good reason.
What's up, Tim Sykes, millionaire mentor and trader, here with $10,000. A lot of you think you need
That's what's up. Dang, so don't steal that Pokemon, bro. Cause we'll switch up on you real quick. You take that Pokemon, bro. Now I remember that game. That game used to be everything, bro. So I understand the pain that he was going through. So if you like this video, go ahead and like the video and comment down below what you want to see me react to, and I'll see you in the next video. No cap.
Stay on my job. Your boy be working too hard. I got dreams of living large, buying houses and expensive cars.